Hi, attorney Andrew Bethel. When my clients come in to discuss their estate plans, they often only know that they should have a trust, but don't realize to even know that there are many different types of trusts out there. Today we're going to talk about how to be fair and equitable in your distribution plan and pot trusts. No, not that kind of pot. But first, please be sure to like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell. Also leave a comment below if you have any questions or have a topic you wish for us to cover. But as always, thank you very much for watching. When my clients are in a situation where they're not looking to make a standard distribution of equally among my children, there's often a bit of a struggle to figure out how to be fair, but also acknowledge the realities of life. What if a child is irresponsible with money, or what if you want to earmark money for children or grandchildren, but you don't know how much they might ultimately need? The question really comes down to this. Where I want to hold money in trust for the benefit of my heirs, do I pool the money together so that everyone works from the same larger pot of funds, or do I have everything separated out so that each beneficiary's share is not mixed together, but each receives only a set amount? Let's start with separate trust funds. The idea is that you give different children or beneficiaries either a set amount or a percentage of your estate, and have those funds separated and used for that specific beneficiary's needs. Everyone's funds start on equal footing, and that child only has their own funds to draw from. You can have one person manage all the funds or have each one managed separately, the manager being the trustee. Alternatively, you could have all the assets stay together all in one pot and have a larger pooled fund to draw from for all the beneficiaries, rather than individual pools of money. Now there's only one manager of a single fund, again that being the trustee, and they have the authority to manage all the funds and make distributions where needed. This brings us back to the question of which structure to pick. Well, of course, it's going to be situation dependent. The first question I ask my clients is that what are the conditions for a full disbursement? That is, are the funds to stay in trust throughout the beneficiary's life, or are they to be distributed at some point in time? If they are to be distributed at some point in time, then what's the trigger for that point? Most pick age of the beneficiary as being that point of distribution, but some direct money to be distributed at certain intervals until gone. The main consideration telling me my clients need to do separate trusts is time. Is the intent to hold the money in the trust for an extended period of time, or is there a large age difference between the various beneficiaries? If the time for final distribution is many decades in the future or after the death of the primary beneficiary, then I have found that it is often more beneficial to divide the money into separate funds, given the idea is for the money to stay in trust for a long period of time, meaning an increased likelihood of one beneficiary's needs being substantially different than the others. As in, chances are, someone is going to need more money over time when compared to the others. The other case is age. If one beneficiary is 10 and the other 20, for example, with the time of distribution being at the beneficiary's 25th birthday, then this is a case where it may make more sense to separate the funds at the onset. One will need their funds much sooner than the other, and from a tax standpoint, the 10-year-old beneficiary will pay more over those 15 years while their money is growing, when compared to the beneficiary who only receives their money in just 5 years. Because of the difference in age, it doesn't make sense to link their potential tax burdens together, only for them to be separated later anyway. Additionally, if one needs more money during that time than the other, for example, let's say the 20-year-old has a medical emergency, then it oftentimes doesn't seem fair for the younger beneficiary to receive less due to the 50-50 split occurring after paying one beneficiary's medical bills. Conversely, a pot trust is often better suited for cases where the money won't be held for an extended period of time, where there is not a significant age difference among the beneficiaries, or where there is some nuance or complexity among the beneficiary's circumstances. If you think about it as a parent with multiple children, you probably run your household like a pot trust. Each child's expenses are paid as needed, and with some prioritizing when it comes to important expenses, whether it be tuition or medical bills. Thus, there is something to the idea of having the same approach with one's estate plan. You don't want children or beneficiaries to be irresponsible with money, so the money is held in trust, but you also know you can't predict everything. So you want your trustee to have the flexibility to pay bills in priority of importance. Now, to counterbalance the responsibility of managing a pot of funds, the background administration will likely be a little bit easier for the trustee. They only have to file one tax return each year for the trust, and the trust pays the taxes rather than distributing it out among the beneficiaries based on how much each has in the fund. They can have one trust account rather than one for each beneficiary, and generally, managing one pot of assets is easier and provides more access to investment opportunities when compared to managing many saucers of assets. Additionally, if the beneficiaries are close in age or the time to disbursement is short, then it will likely be easier to pool the funds rather than always worrying about separating them, especially when it comes to trying to separate invested assets, something the trustee is required to engage in, that being investing the money. All this requires you to have a great deal of trust in your chosen beneficiary, as you are, in essence, entrusting them to be your surrogate and know your goals and priorities with your children. You trust them to pay tuition and required bills, not just to dole out money to whoever asks. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, be sure to check out our other excellent videos here. But don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell, and tell us what you'd like for us to cover in the comments below.